Hey guys, BJ on Game Day. Round 10, Magic Round, Breno. That round where the NRL says fuck the rest of Australia. We want the banana bucks. How you doing?
Good, Bogan. Good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it. Magic Round, as you said, this weekend. So a few different times we'll be getting played over the weekend, and you'll have a look at round 9 that was as well. But yeah, hopefully none of those Parramatta players or any of those Western Sydney blokes bring COVID.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you should say. They were reporting yesterday that Parramatta might not be able to fill out their squad because they don't have enough players in the bubble.
Yeah, and just more generally, I think they've got some issues with a couple of suspensions, and
we're obviously pre-recording this. I put the word out on Twitter. We're pre-recording. We were due to have a special guest, hence why we organised to pre-record. But they pussied out. But that being said, tomorrow night, which will be tonight by the time this is airing, a couple of Parramatta players going to the judiciary, including one incident that we'll go into when we go into the games. But how'd you go last week?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, so we won't do team lists, obviously, previews this week because this is Monday night when we're shooting, and team lists obviously don't come out till Tuesday afternoon. But
I will either edit in the team lists tomorrow afternoon, or I will put a snarky remark up on the screen right now.
I can say that Dylan Brown has accepted a 3-week stint on the sidelines. So he's taking the early guilty plea and will miss 3 weeks for the knees into Hutchinson.
What did you think of that? Because people were outraged, but I sort of feel that people were more outraged of the consequence of the incident rather than the incident itself. Because it didn't look like he was intentionally running into like, I'm going to smash this cunt. Like,
it was careless. It wasn't. He's lazy, I guess, but I didn't see any malice or any malicious intent. Obviously, he's just sort of fallen into it a bit lazy, and I think he knew he was going to get him, but I obviously didn't realise what he was going to do. But I mean, I said to a few, there was mixed, as you said, reactions to it, even within some of our Facebook group chats, and I personally didn't think it was too bad.
and you can't.
What happened to Hutchinson?
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't think there was nothing in the incident. Unfortunately, I don't like that. Hutchinson got hospital punctured lung, blah 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 blah. But it is what it is. Dylan Brown will take his 3 weeks, taking an early plea, and Marata Nikokora, who in the same play shoulder charge Teddy, has also taken the early guilty plea and will miss 2 matches.
So there you go. That's 2 down for Parramatta.
Yeah, so that's pretty big for Parramatta. I mean, Brown hasn't been unreal, but Marata Nikokora has been pretty good out on that edge for him. So I think maybe Waka Blake might be due back. And it'll be interesting to see what Parramatta do with this number 6 jersey. I have heard Bryce Cartwright could possibly get the jersey. I think Will Smith's still in. But I've also heard Brad Arthur's son might be in line.
Oh, really?
There's another Arthur. I can't remember his first name, but there's an article floating around that he's.
I'd love it to be Arthur, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's Arthur. But so there will be another big one. Is obviously Dave Fifita. Plenty of people know Dave Fifita, Bogues. He is heading to the judiciary to seek a downgrade on his grade 2 careless high tackle. I think if he if he's successful getting it downgraded, he will be free to play against Penrith on Sunday. But if he's not, he'll miss the next 2 games. So a bit of a risk there, and then obviously going into Origin from there, he's pretty much guaranteed to get picked in the second row for Queensland. He probably plays a few matches over that following month after that. So if he is unsuccessful, it'll be interesting to see what owners do with him, given he'll probably only play once or twice in the next 5 weeks or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he's bound to be suspended because he's in my team and I'm just having a shit run. Speaking of...
Which, how did you go, mate?
Sorry?
Speaking of which, how did you go?
1150. So, but I was reading on Twitter before we started recording that some numpty sitting around 20,000 has broken the Supercoach record.
Yeah, it was a massive score. He ended up cracking the 1700 in the end.
Yeah.
And could have been a bit higher had he tapped on turbo because he had the captaincy on Cleary. So, yeah, highest Supercoach score ever. I think that pulled him into, ranked 10K now or something like that. But, yeah, massive score. It was a really big week. I think as it's happened previously in the season, the week that Pappenhausen scored 4 tries and scored 190, whatever it was, it was the same this week. You either had him and captained him, you had him and didn't captain him, or you didn't have him, and there was sort of 3 distinct populations. That said, I still think there were some good scores around the people that didn't have him.
So how'd you go for the week, Breno?
Yeah, not bad, Bogues. It was 1382 for me. I had Turbo as captain, so that saved my week, basically. Best part of a third of my score from Turbo. So, increase in the rankings about 1,500 spots into 4,700th. So, can't complain about that. It's going to be really easy to blow out. So, it's like 100 points, probably the other way, and I'm probably sitting at 10,000th. So, pretty cutthroat at the moment, but just trying to get a bit closer to that top 1,000 if possible, and trying to. I've been on the up the last few weeks with a few good captain choices, so hopefully onwards and upwards.
Alrighty, well, on to the week that was. I don't know if we need to talk about this one too much.
Yeah, well, you
was
probably
fucking paddling.
Probably expected Melbourne to win this one, but definitely not the way that it all played out in the end. Definitely not. It was just basically no contest in the end, was it?
Yeah. Well, mate, what can you say? Josh Addo-Carr, 6 tries, scores 178. I think he's upgraded a fair bit. But I'll tell you what, 6 tries. He mustn't have done much else.
Well, yeah, 100 points in tries, 102 points in tries, and then 40 points in line breaks, and then the rest is hit-ups. So he had a few tackle busts and a couple tackles, but yeah, 6 tries from the Fox. I think I saw a stat. First time it's been done by a man since 1950. Possibly the first time ever by a Melbourne Storm player, I'd have to imagine. I'm pretty sure that was the stat.
Yeah, considering the Storm weren't around in 1950, you'd have to say.
True. Yeah, go figure. But yeah, it was an absolute slaughter, as you can see, on that Melbourne side. With Jerome Hughes was massive as well, tonned up. Cameron Munster raised the bat as well in the end after some updates. Nicho
Hines still not a trap. Where's the fucking chat when I need him? When I picked fucking Nicho Hines to cover while fucking Pappy's injured, people saying he's a trap, and he's strength to strength. And if Pappy's not back this week, he stays in.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Nicho, he's just made that look pretty much like Pappy isn't even there, believe it or not. But yeah, they were just clinical, weren't they? Brandon Smith was good. Harry Grant came off the bench, so that would have annoyed a few owners, but there was just so many attacking stats out there. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. The Rabbitohs side of the field, pretty disappointing.
Nothing to fucking talk about.
Yeah, Cody Walker basically would have been the biggest one who ended up on 16 in the end, which would have hurt a few people, and obviously neither Trell or Adam Reynolds goes to show just how much of a difference particularly Adam Reynolds can make to that side. So yes, not a good one there for Rabbitohs fans this week, Bogues. We're looking to bounce back next week.
Oh, well, who's hoping?
Our first game on the Friday, it was a similar scoreline. It was the Penny Panthers absolutely giving it to the Cronulla Sharks, and it was the right edge. There was plenty of points out on that right edge for Steve Crichton and Charlie Staines. I think a couple of their late tries came through Crichton and Staines as well. So
people that held on to Staines finally getting rewarded.
Absolutely, Bogues. He's finally done it, and I think they were saying the game he debuted last year against Cronulla, he scored 4. It was against Cronulla, so he likes to play Cronulla. Charlie, so I think he had a hat trick. Cleary 107 as well. James Fisher-Harris across for a meat pie. Bumped his score up a little bit there, finishing on 84. Jerome Luai, I still think just looks like one of the most dangerous players in the comp. and I just death ride him every time I watch Penrith play because he just looks so dangerous whenever he gets the ball in his hands, runs the ball a lot, and just creates so much around him. Brian Toto was solid, 71 without scoring a try, not too shabby from a winger. Kurt Capel produced a 60 despite the injury cloud. Coruscant 59, so they were pretty good across the park again. What can you say? They're just juggernaut at the moment. They just keep on keeping on the Cronulla side of the field. Not much to really write home about, is there? Chambers, the return of Chambers hasn't really come to fruition for them. Sean Johnson was just a team that's kept nearly not expecting much, so he's going to be looking to be pretty cheap in the next week or two with 103 break even at 528k this week. But yeah, what do you say in a side that gets beaten 48-0? There's not much else you really can say, Bogues, because
did better than the Rabbitohs.
I must admit, apparently there was I don't know if it was confirmed, but there was a thing on Twitter or something, a screen grab of Chambers trying to give some of the Penrith boys flack about not having a grand final ring, and I just thought, Chambers, you're a fucking idiot. Your team's just been beaten by 50, and you just look like a sore loser and you're a goose. And if you had looked inside the Cooper Cronk against Cronulla a couple of years ago, in the last couple of minutes, you would have had two of them. So, anyway, I thought that was funny. But yeah, not too great for Sharkies fans. And Will Kennedy, most surprisingly, 4 points from him. He's been one of their best. So I think they've lost their way a little bit in the last couple of weeks. The Sharkies have got to try and find their DNA again. I thought with Sean Johnson back, they'd be doing some good things. But yeah, they'll have to bounce back next week.
I think they're a club in trouble on all fronts. News was coming out, tonight, so Monday night, that they're looking to get Paul Gallen in as a special advisor on the board. So
yeah, obviously with the coach dramas they've had this season and Fitzgibbon incoming for next season, you called it. What were you going to expect from them, given that was so early in the season and all that stuff happened, and it's not looking like it's had a good effect. So not sure what they're going to try and salvage from this season, but there's still a long way to go on the comp, so they can't be putting up performances like that. That said, Penrith are the benchmark. So
yeah, they definitely showed it. On to the second Friday night game.
Yeah, it was Parramatta getting the job done in over the Roosters in the end. It was a bit of a war of attrition for the old Chooks.
Controversial one. The score probably doesn't represent the game.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game of footy, all things considered. Like you said, I think Parramatta should have probably dominated the game a lot more, but the Roosters, showed a good character and hung in there. But I think it was just the massive weight of possession and field position that eventually they just couldn't hold on. You had Victor Radley go to HIA very early, so that was a massive loss for them. Obviously, you had Drew Hutchinson at halftime with the Dylan Brown incident not return. And was there another one, Bogues, that they lost? And they had a young bloke on debut on the bench as well, and then Daniel Fafita. So they were cut down pretty quickly.
What's his name? Suwali or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it was looking like Suwali was possibly going to get a run.
Apparently he was 18th man, and the Roosters were blown up because of that call on Hutchinson, that they weren't able to bring in the 18th man because it wasn't called as a foul.
Yeah, it wasn't called on field, so they sort of bombed that one. If they got Nakura's on field, and if Teddy had stayed down or something like that, possibly they would have been able to do it. But yeah, the Brown one being missed completely is beyond me. Like, we already obviously mentioned it, I didn't think it looked that bad, but when you look at the replays, it's clear.
Oh, it still warrants a penalty. Like, I don't think anyone's arguing that it doesn't deserve a penalty. But I saw a lot of people were fired up on Twitter. I don't think it was sinister. I think, as you said earlier, it was laziness. Like, really, he was coming in to obviously, try to effect a miracle tackle. Should have just jumped over him. Like,
Yeah, it was lazy. So it was interesting though the Supercoach side of things. Matt Ikuvalu, who took Brett Morris's spot on the wing, scored 3 tries and turned up top scorer for the game. Isaiah Papali'i also rewarding anyone that forked out the 760 odd K that he was this week. Plenty of people sort of thinking, was he worth it? Was he not? 57 points in base, played the 80 minutes, and also had a hand in a late try to Dylan Brown, which bumped his score up a little bit towards the end. Just under the ton there, so really happy owners for Isaiah Papali'i. Brycey Cartwright ended up coming on, scoring a double pretty quickly. Ryan Madison's return to the starting side this week, but Maddo was massive. Maddo looked really good, and well, he played 80 last week as well, but he had 51 points in base this week, and also had a few. He had put the ball on the toe a couple times as well. So he's looking really good as well. Plenty of people weren't sure what to do with Junior Paulo. Junior Paulo ended up looking like the player that started the season. He was enormous.
You might notice he's not in green anymore.
You got rid of him, did you?
Yeah, well, I had to make some trades to bring in Papali'i. So...
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you can't be unhappy about Papali'i, but Paulo, you just think, what's doing? I mean, there was a rumour, I only heard it for the first time last week, that he was under an injury cloud, which would explain a bit. But yeah, his minutes were, he just played under 70 minutes, 59 points in base, and he had that offload going again. So
pretty low scoring game, Supercoach wise.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any huge tons or anything like that. There's some solid 80s and 70s across the board. I think Mitchell Moses was good. Dylan Brown got that late try, which bumped his score up a bit. Fergo's killing me. How he didn't get that ball down in the corner, but the view of that corner post cam was absolutely amazing for that one. I don't know if you saw that one, Bogan. And then I was a Gutherson owner, and the Sivo no try hurt a little bit as well. I think Papali'i got done for taking someone out in the defensive line who was never going to get there. But so I left some points begging in that game, in particular Fergo's one and Sivo no try, which Gutho put him in. So that stung a little bit. Siwa Takiaho, he only scored 50 points, but he's super cheap now, I think, Bogues. I know he doesn't play the bye, but I think he's one of the only genuine, like, one of the keeper front rowers left. You got Haas, you got Takiaho, you got Paulo, AB, TPJ. But he played 63 minutes, 51 points in base, but it does look like he's lost the goal kicking. So Sam Walker started. I don't think Sam Walker's kicking to his ability at the moment. He might be a little bit of pressure out there. He's sort of shanked a few. Yeah. And Adam Kieran is a really good goal kicker. So when he came on, he actually took the goal kicking off Walker. That said, I think Walker's also under some injury. He was already carrying some injuries, but worried about an ankle syndesmosis.
Yeah, he did have a bit of a
doubt for this.
He did have a bit of a nasty twist of the ankle there. We'll have to see in the future whether he's in the team list for this week.
Yeah, we'll find that out obviously tomorrow or Savo or tonight when you're watching this. He was lucky with a late try assist as well to bump his score up because he wasn't looking too good. Reid Marnie as well got knocked out, Bogues. That was another one that would have hurt a few people.
Yeah, no shit.
Reid, you had him, did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. It wasn't a good week for you, absolutely. And Angus Crichton just continues to disappoint. A guy that was sort of near 700k, just, they're not using him. I don't know what it is. Obviously,
I think it was because Josh King at the start of the season called him the premier second rower.
He's not now, and I wouldn't blame people for getting off him. He's just sort of not really. He hasn't been bad, but 39 points on the weekend is not what you want from a guy you're paying 700k for. Obviously, you probably got a few other problems at this point, but not good from old Gus. He's I'm sort of hoping to get that 70 and 80 a bit more regularly. On the Saturday, this was one of the hardest games of footy I've had to watch for a long time. The first half for Newcastle. That's even going through a period of...
Faders are back.
Back to back spoons. Our first half was absolutely disgusting. I don't know how Canberra weren't 30 points up on us. I can't imagine how Canberra Raiders fans are feeling after this one, because as a Newcastle fan, I was absolutely disgusted that we won this game in the end because we were just so bad. Supercoach wise, Callum Ponga top score with 107. Probably the difference in the end. Scored a try, set one up. Pretty much the most pivotal try in the game as well. Jaden Brayley also crossed as well, 92 there, so nice for people sticking with Brails. And Frizzell, basically the 3 try scorers towards the end of the game. All at the top there.
Tyson Frizzell, what do you think of him? Is he a pod? Is he owned enough to, or owned little enough to be a pod? Because he played out of his skin at St George. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, I think he had his best year last year. It was a year, one of those years, but I mean, he hasn't been bad for us this season. A low score of 42.
He just doesn't get talked about very often. That's all.
I mean, he's at 9% ownership, so he's not uber pod, like he's not 1 or 2%, but he's still in that pod region at under 10%. You know, he's a back row that plays 80. I guess the only concern with him now is whether you think he'll play Origin or not. Obviously, Newcastle don't play the round 13 bye, so it's all about whether you think he'll play Origin, and there's a chance he will, but there's also maybe a chance he won't. Just depends what Freddie goes with. So whether you want to take that punt or not, I'm not sure, but yeah, he's been great for anyone that's had him. I mean, to be fair, he's been better than Crichton to start the year, so. Yes, on the Canberra side of the field, yeah, like I said, I'm sure there was pretty disappointed Canberra fans out there. It was Josh Papali'i that top scored with Bailey Simmons on 79. So Big Papa was back in the starting side. Played only 42 minutes, but had his hand in some attacking stats, which was, I don't think there's many people that owns Papa, to be fair, but had a line break and also had a few offloads, Big Papa. Apart from that, you know, Georgie Williams was solid. Starling, great little footballer. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Hodgson there, because if for some reason Hodgson's fallen out with Ricky, it'd be really interesting if they run forward with him. The only other one I'd have a look at, Bogues, is he's sort of been injured for the last few weeks, and he's another one. I'm not sure if he's going to play Origin. I think he's fallen out of favour, but it's Davey Clemmer. 61 points on the weekend. He still hasn't found that offload that he had last year, but 477k in the front row could be a sneaky option. I'm sort of expecting him to bounce back a little bit of form. Clem, but 61 on the weekend, and I think he's worth every dollar there. He's not going to offer you too much, doesn't have that ceiling, but he's just Mr. Consistent. 470k, not bad. The second game on the Saturday, I didn't catch any of these games. I actually went out. I didn't catch any of the second 2 games, but there was an absolute score-a-thon in this
as predicted.
Tigers and Titans game, as you said, as predicted. 64? Is that 64 points in total? Adam Dewey top scored for the Tigers with 141. Absolutely massive. I think you mentioned it over a month ago now, Bogans, about whether Adam Dewey was worth a look, and we talked about how hard it would be to bring him in that 5'8" position with so many other guys in there that are relevant. And geez, I wish you had listened to your own advice, or I hadn't listened to you.
I listen to you and King too much.
I want to bring Adam Dewey in now. He's going to be looking really good for the buy, but he's a bit more of a premium price now, and but looks amazing. He obviously scored a try, had his hand in a couple, had a few line break assists in the line break. Noah Faluma finally rewarding owners, Bogues, like myself, who picked him up 3 weeks ago. So he scored a couple really late tries. I didn't see them. I haven't watched any highlights from this game, but I heard there was the Noah Faluma try. One of the first one was off a tap. I'll have to go back and have a look. But happy with that. Finally, he's produced. Dave Fafita, 97 with a sin bin, which is massive. Jamal Fogarty, 91. As you can imagine in this game, just points everywhere. Alexander Brimson, 80. Brian Kelly sort of finally put a score on the board, 69. Not crazy good, but not bad. Of course, I didn't play Dane Laurie last week, but I played him this week for his 26 and missed his 100 and whatever it was last week. Sini, 7 points, so that's interesting. He was looking like a cheapie that everyone was going to be on. He's got a -3 break even now, but it'll be interesting to see whether he gets named. When you're watching this, you obviously probably know, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens to Sini with such a low score there. Simpkins crossed for a try as well, Bogan, so that helped him. He did play, what's his minutes look like? Jake Simpkin. He still played 50 minutes, 27 points in base, which wasn't very good. But yeah, the try with the line break helped him a fair bit there to finish on 54. So I don't know what owners are doing with him, but Little did get a bit of time as well, I think. Yeah, he got 30 minutes out there, so obviously played the other remaining part of the game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, because I think Little is a pretty good little footballer as well. I think defensively he's not awesome, but he offers a heap for them in attack. Peachy scored 48, Hurt Peebley scored a try, plenty of people high on the feature. Tino returned 47 points. And I think he played decent minutes as well, big Tino, folks.
Okay.
Played 58 minutes, only 42 in base, so yeah, Tino's sort of dropped a bit. I'm a bit surprised at that, big Tino. I'm a big fan of big Tino, but yeah, anyway, I think that's probably about it for that one. The final game on the Saturday was the Cows getting the job done against the Broncos. So I was out, and I saw this game, and I think I saw Coates set up, was it Arthur's, to go in for them to lead 18-12, and they looked really good. And then the next time I looked at my phone, it was 19-18 full time. Did you see any of those games or catch any of that, boys?
No, I'm not going to watch fucking Cowboys versus Broncos.
We'll turn back the clock, then the rivalry is still alive and well. But the big one out of this one, Bogues, is Taumalolo played 71 minutes, 62 points in base, obviously crossed for a meat pie, which bumped his score up. But 101 points. I don't know what's going on with Toddy Payton there, but I didn't catch the game. I don't know if there was any injuries. If you're watching this and you know, you're probably a bit more informed on that there. But that's very interesting from Big Lolo. I noticed Condon was pretty ordinary. Did he get a head knock, or was he shit? Or he only played 33 minutes, so I don't know what happened with Condon. Obviously, I didn't watch that game, so not entirely sure what's doing there. But yeah, you'll have to have a look. Val Holmes wasn't obviously unreal there, 50 points. Probably a lot of people looked at him for this matchup and thought he was good value there. So then you'll take a 50, could have been worse. Pangai, Lodge, both 63. Payne Haas, 82, Bogues. I think he just looks so solid in the front row. If you don't have him, I couldn't blame you for bringing him in. Even now, I was looking at bringing him in this week. We made a bit of a spur-of-the-moment trade to bring Bradman and Best in, which... I mean, in the end, I kept Paulo. I was going to go Paulo to Haas, so it probably wasn't too bad. But, yeah, 62 minutes for the big man, 68 points in base, and finished on 82. So that's pretty good. And Xavier Coates, top scored, he looked really good. Just throughout the week or just after that game, confirmed that he signed with Melbourne. So, yeah, that's a bit of salt in the wounds there. Another one that's sort of gotten away from the Broncos. But, yeah, unfortunately there for Brisbane, they were trying to sort of get back on the winning track there, but the Cowboys stole it from them. And I believe it's been confirmed that Paddy Carrigan has done an ACL. So that's pretty big. Supercoach-wise, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Apparently, Alex Glenn is still a couple of weeks away, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when Glenn returns, whether Pangai goes back into the middle. There was some speculation that Haas might go to lock, which probably doesn't change his role too much, but... yeah, I'm really hoping TPJ doesn't lose his edge spot, but I could see it happening, and maybe it's okay because Carrigan's not there and gets some bigger minutes in the middle and some more base, but yeah, we'll have to keep a close eye on that one, and maybe Lodge could be a bit of a winner out of that injury as well. And then it was the historic game, whatever you want to call it. I did watch this game on the Sunday, first game on the Sunday, and it was the Seagulls getting over the Warriors in a 70-point game, 38-32, and it was the Tom Trebojevic show, Bogues. Did you see this? Were you following live updates on Supercoach? What was doing? Were you wondering?
No, it wasn't.
What happened? Talk me through it. When was the first time you realised Turbo was going off his head?
Probably when realised it was going to cost me several head-to-heads.
Yeah, it was massive in the end. It was the Tommy Turbo show. He crossed for a double early. He scored their first 2 tries. He had 4 try assists, 5 line breaks, 3 line break assists, a heap of tackle busts. He was in everything. Ended up finishing the game 193, I think. I think pretty much everyone just expected him to update. He was on that score with about 15 to go as well. So, you know, what could have been, everyone was just sort of hoping that he'd get some sort of attacking stats just to put the icing on the cake and guarantee that record to be broken. He didn't in the end. I think it was lucky that the Warriors sort of stayed in it because it probably meant he stayed out on the park. Had they been winning by 30, I reckon he would have got an early shower. But yeah, phenomenal from Turbo, 191 points. Plenty of people chucked the C on him. Plenty of people owned him. You know, he's at 43% ownership as we shoot this. I don't know what it was at the time of him, last round. But yeah, massive. Jason Saab's a benefactor. Both those wingers are massive benefactors of the Turbo show. Garrick in particular, but yeah, Saab as well benefiting there. Tohu Harris was the best scorer for the Warriors. He was massive. He scored a try, set a late one up as well. So that was pretty big. Tohu's just been an absolute beast this season. I always regret not having big Tohu. He just keeps on churning out the points. 80 minutes, 50 in base, but yeah, some nice attacking stats from old Tohu. But yeah, to be fair, considering there's 70 points scored in the game, it's not really what you'd expect to see. There was a couple of high scores, but I guess Turbo was the pig that took them all from Manly in terms of the Supercoach points. But even on the Warriors side, you got Nick Kareem there with 95, but there's not really a great deal of high scores in that one. But yeah, Cherry wasn't that great in a team that scored 38 points, but it was the Turbo show. Harris Tavita returned 69 with a try, Karen 57, Sheck 50, Reece Walsh came off the bench and scored a try, but yeah, that was probably about it. But it was the Tommy Turbo show, mate. And then we finished it off on the Sunday with another blockbuster. They just keep finding these blockbusters for the free-to-wear games, and it was the Dragons that got done comfortably in the end over the Doggies, 32-12. It was a bit of a tussle for a while there, but class of the Dragons, they just sort of got away from them in the end. Matty Duffy, top scorer for the Dragons with 111, scored a double, had a couple of line break assists, a heap of tackle busts for little Matt Duffy. Jackie Bird was really good. I was actually filthy. I was looking at Stephen Crichton, Bradman Best and Jack Bird, and I went with the most expensive option who scored the least amount of points out of the 3. I couldn't bring myself to bring Crichton in just no form. And Jack Bird, I was like, is he really worth 440k? I wish I'd listened to myself. But Paulie Vaughan crossed for a pie, so a big 93 from the big man there. And you had Matt Fagai, who looked really good. He debuted, he scored a try and also had his hand in one with a couple of line breaks, so 89 from him. There's the Fagai brothers, Bogues, so there's Matt and Max. Matt debuted on the left wing on the weekend, outside Jack Bird, and Max played his second game on the right. So just be careful if you're looking at bringing in Matt or Max for a cash rise this week, because Max is playing his 3rd game. I don't know if Matt will in the end, but yeah, keep an eye out there, just be careful. Otherwise, there was some sort of scores in the middle there. Corey Norman, but no one probably that relevant. Benny Hunt with a 69. Luke Thompson with a 66 continues to be pretty consistent, pretty solid, but yeah, probably nothing overly relevant for Classic, if I'm honest. What else have we got there? Yeah, not really. Probably that's about it. And that was the round that was, folks.
Alrighty, moving on to this week's games. Nice easy one for you, all in one graphic this week. This week, Breno.
Beautiful. So yeah, Magic Round, as you mentioned, Bogues, all at Suncorp on the weekend.
Yep, no Thursday game, so...
Oh, there you go. I didn't actually even realise that. So, no Thursday night footy.
Gives people an extra day to agonise over their trades.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. So yeah, we've got the 150 game on the Sunday, it looks like. So a little bit of an earlier fixture on the Sunday. And obviously the 3 games. Well, that's probably normal. There's just a 6 o'clock Sunday as well, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, it'll be the Tigers taking on the Knights. I mean, I'd have to say the Tigers are pretty decent favourites going into this one. Our form's been woeful. Our first half was disgusting. Still can't believe we won that game. But I think you could be looking at a couple of both of those teams, Bogues. You've got both of them playing around 13 bye round. So, like I said, guys like Adam Dewey, Noel Faluma, Luciano Olua, a couple that come to mind. But Adam Dewey in particular could be a good one. I know he's a little bit inflated because of his big score last week, but you could be having a look at a couple of those guys on the Knights side of the field. As I said, you've got guys like Clemmer. Barnett's a really interesting one, Bogan. So Lachlan Fitzgibbon has returned, and that was actually something I forgot to mention. With Fitzgibbon's return, he's been pushed out to that edge, and Barnett came into the middle to play lock, and Barnett didn't actually play 80 minutes. So, I don't know, do you have Barnett, Bogues?
I do at the moment, yeah.
Barnett is possibly one of the really interesting ones. Obviously, the Knights play the bye, but he only played 44 minutes on the weekend and 46 points, which is a massive concern. He lost nearly 40k just because of that. 100 break even, something like that. He's got another pretty decent break even again. I was sort of toying with the idea of trading him straight to Matto. It's virtually a straight swap this week. I just don't know. I'm a bit torn. I've got to start saving trades.
I've got too many Parramatta players in my team.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but, this is sort of the week to do it. Do you do it? Do you not? But
yeah,
that's a really interesting one. And, I'm really torn on what to do with Mitch Barnett because that's a killer. I think I'll end up just having to hold him for the bye numbers. And Connor Watson saw a little bit of a reduction in minutes as well as a result. Like he was going anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes, average probably 50, give or take. He only played 39 minutes, and it was only because he got some attacking stats that he finished on 49. So a bit of concern there with a couple of pretty popular Supercoach players from Newcastle, and it'll be interesting to see what people are doing with those guys. It's really hard because you've got to still make sure you got the numbers for round 13 bows. You want to have them on the park. But, Barnett's faced with the proposition of losing, another 100k or more before then. He could be under 400k by the time you get to round 13 and then want to be looking to get off him. So, some interesting sort of decisions to make with that one. The Seagulls will take on Brisbane. So, yeah, anyone that doesn't own Turbo, imagine if Lil Paps doesn't get named, those owners will probably be looking to go bring Turbo in if they hadn't already. He's obviously he'll probably be a pretty popular captaincy option. He'll also be a very popular vice captaincy option as well, but I couldn't blame people for chucking the straight C on Tommy. Given the form he's in, he's just been absolutely fucking insane since he came back from injury. I don't think has he gone? I think he had one score under the ton since his return. So in his 4 games back, he's gone 116, 118, 68, and obviously 191 on the weekend. So, do you say you don't own him, Bogues?
No.
What are you doing? Are you getting on or too late?
Too late. Don't trust Amies. He'll do one this week.
Who you got, Teddy and Pap?
Nah, I've got Pap and King Gutho.
The Gutharuno. Yes, I have the Gutharuno as well. Yeah, so interesting there. This kind of could be a death ride again for any non-owners. Don't know if you want to watch that game, to be honest. It will be interesting to see what happens with Brisbane with Paddy Carrigan. I really hope TPJ doesn't get named at lock, or if he does, he just plays heaps of minutes. You've got Tyson Gamble playing his 3rd game, so Brisbane do play the bye, so you could be looking to bring Gamble in. I myself have Jock Madden, so I could go straight from Jock Madden to Gamble. Gamble's going to make a bit of coin. He's a dual half, so that makes him easy to pick as well, which is nice. And we'll play that round 13 bye. It looks like he could score 40, 50 not a bad week, but looks like he's involved enough that he could be a good 40 at least, which will be nice. Just trying to think who else you might have. That Brisbane side, you got the usual offenders, Payne Haas. I couldn't blame anyone for bringing him in. Matty Lodge, now that Carrigan is out, you've got Matty Lodge with a 39 break even. He's just under 400k. So, I mean, it's a little bit awkward to buy him now. I started the year with him at 300k.
Is he dual position or is he just at prop?
No, he's front row only. But yeah, it's sort of hard at 400k because you're probably not. He doesn't have the ceiling, but he's probably going to get you a good 50 points. But with Carrigan out, who knows what the role is with Matty Lodge? That could be nice as someone that started the year with Lodge. Maybe he finds a 60 average over the next few weeks. But they're also going to probably lose Payne Haas, obviously, in round 13. I'm just trying to think. Well, they probably might not have lost Carrigan, but maybe Lodgy ends up being a little bit of a gem for round 13. It's really hard without team list, Bogues. I'm not too sure what else, like with the injuries or anything else as well, but they're probably a couple. But yeah, Brisbane players, you've got a Sarko as well. You could be looking to bring him in. I don't think it's a bad fixture for the Broncos. They can score some points. So I expect this one could be a high-scoring game as well.
I think it's going to be, the woes are going to continue for the Broncos, I reckon.
The first game on the Saturday will be the Dogs up against the Raiders, so a couple of clubs.
Shit game.
Yeah, the Raiders will be really hoping they can bounce back from this. I think Flano got hooked as well early on the weekend, Bogue, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, not an awesome one. It'll be interesting to see if Hodgson's back. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation in the media at the moment. There's a bit of a falling out at Canberra, so the on-field performances aren't really helping their cause if there is anything going on. It's not looking too good for them, but I think CHN was a buy last week at 300k. He didn't have a great game on the weekend, if I'm honest. He was pretty quiet. Canberra were pretty ordinary, but the other awkward thing is he doesn't play that round 13 buy. But I like Harawara CHN, I'm going to call him. It's like I said, it's a bit hard to buy him because he's not going to play the buy, but I think he's still going to be pretty cheap because he didn't really smash his break even. 330k, it's only jumped up 30k and with a 13 break even. So maybe, if you're looking at a guy that can potentially make some good cash, that's sort of cheap. I still think CHN's a good option at this point of the season. And he might be one that you can get on now that you just wear for round 13. That'll be good to have for round 17 and the next buy round. I don't know what else is going to be doing in those teams. Obviously, Simonson's going to make a bit of coin now, which would be nice to be able to offload him by round 13. He might make 150 grand now. Maybe he can score another try or two on this one and keep on keeping on, so that'll be nice. But yeah, I can't even think of anything in that dog side that you'd want to touch. I don't think there's any awesome cheapies off the top of my head. Yeah, don't know how it's doing there. I don't know, if it sort of starts to get a little bit better at Saturday at 5:30 with Cronulla taking on the Rabbits. I think, is Latrell still out, Bogues? I think he still misses this one, doesn't he?
I believe so, yes.
So no Latrell, probably no Adam Reynolds. So South will pretty much have a similar side to what they had last week and they'll have to back it up. And Cronulla coming off, they're both the sides that come off basically a 50-point drubbing, taking on each other. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens in this one. I'd imagine Cody Walker owners will be playing him, and I don't think you could chuck the C on him or even the VC on him at this point because maybe you might be able to do a bit of a pot option there with Cody Walker this week, potentially. What else is doing? Murray will still be out, so Arrow will still be... What do you get? Let's see, Bogues. I only played 51 minutes for 42 points, so that wasn't awesome. But yeah, the South players aren't really on the market because they played around 13 bye, so probably mainly just thinking this one will be a Cody Walker owners game, and that's about it. Cookie owners, we hoping he can sort of make amends for the ordinary score last week. He's having a bit of an up and down season, old Cookie, so... Next one, Chook's taking on the Cowboys. So it'll be interesting to see whether Sam Walker plays, Bogues, there's a bit of speculation as to whether he'll play. He's in a bit of doubt. So just keep the R on him.
Who replaces him if he can't?
Well, I believe Joey Manu can slide into the halves, which would mean Suwali could possibly get a debut, which would be pretty big. But they also have Lachlan Liam due to return as well, potentially. So, yeah, obviously with Hutchinson will be gone for a while. No Keary, Sam Walker, and Manu probably. Kieran is there as well, actually. So Kieran's a half. So the more I think about it right now, the more it would make sense to probably have a Walker-Kieran combo, but they might go with Manu to have the running 6 and the organising 7, but there's a chance Walker will be out. So Lockie Lamb can come back, but they also do have Kieran. So they've got a couple options there. Obviously, Teddy owners, this will be the reason why a lot of people that own Teddy held him, was for the next 2 weeks. They played the Cowboys and Brisbane. So with the fullbacks going absolutely berserk as they have been with Turbo and Ponga and Pap, whether Pap gets named as well, we'll get to that. Maybe Teddy owners target this game and chuck the C on Teddy and hope he can redeem himself. But, I 2 weeks ago said you can't sell Teddy, he'll bounce back, and here I am as a Gutho Turbo owner sort of saying, well, maybe you can. I don't know, there's just so much disruption in that side. There's not really any cohesion in any of the positions. They've got halves, combinations rotating in and out. They've got hooker rotation. They've got new blokes in there every week playing different minutes in there. So Teddy might need the ball, his hands on the ball a bit more, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good thing for him. But at the end of the day, it's James Tedesco. I'm not doubting him. I'm not saying he isn't capable of scoring 150 in this game. It's just, with there's so many other appealing options at the moment. And he's bled a lot of cash as well. Obviously, with that 50 on the weekend, Bogues, he probably dropped near 100k. Or something like that. 75 odd K, and faced with another 115 break even. So you'd imagine he'll score some points in this one. Maybe he can score for a pie or two and maybe get 90 or 100, and you'll probably take that as a Teddy owner and really hope that he gets it, because if he doesn't produce a big score in the next 2, you're going to be absolutely sick, and it could be season defining for anyone that owns Teddy. So watch out for Suwali, watch out for Sam Walker, whether he ends up playing or gets named or what's doing there. Tupanua should be back, so I'm a Satili owner, so happy for Satili Tupanua and against the Cowboys, which is good. So
how high do you reckon Suwali's fucking ownership will go if he's named tomorrow?
Yeah, with all the injuries, I think there's a lot of people that might have had him just sitting there anyway, but there'll probably be some people play him as well because they're playing the Cowboys, and from all reports, the kid's a freak. I've seen a couple of his games in New South Wales Cup. He's big for a 17-year-old, isn't he? He doesn't look 17 whatsoever. So I think one-on-one he'll be a handful, and they're probably going to try and... I'm just thinking they're pretty depleted as well, so they might actually need him to do a few things. So I don't know what his ownership's at now, Bogues. I'd have to have a quick look, but it would have been nice if he was playing the bye. If he plays now and plays for the next 3 weeks, you're probably going to want to get him in, because you don't want to miss a rise if he scores a try and then ends up being this freak centre wing that ends up tearing everyone in your arsehole in that Chook side. So where is he? I might have a quick squeeze at what his ownership would be. I reckon it would be pretty high. It was just enough. Have you got him?
Yep.
So you had him just sitting there?
Yep.
Very much that scenario that I just alluded to. So Joseph Suwali, he is at 32% ownership at the moment.
So most people.
1 in 3 teams have got him. So it's quite high, and I reckon some people will probably chuck him in.
Oh, I'll definitely chuck him in my fucking 17 if he's playing, for sure. Why
if you have him, I think what the nice thing is about it is if you do have him and Walker gets named, but then there's a late rule out, you can chuck the R on him. But yeah, just keep an eye on those team lists and see what's doing. It's a bit hard for us now. The first game on the Sunday will be 10-2, and it will be the Warriors taking on Parramatta. And yeah, a few changes there with Parramatta, as we alluded to, with Brad Arthur's son possibly going to get a run in the halves. Maybe Bryce Cartwright. You got Marnie, who might not be right. Yeah, still no Nathan Brown there, so it'll be really interesting. Hopefully that means some good minutes, and Paulo will have to have another big performance as well. On the Warriors side of the park, I'm just trying to think. Probably nothing too notable. You got guys like Tohu again, Josh Curran,
Leeson
maybe Leeson Armour. But yeah, I'm having a look at Maddo because he'll play 13 now, and he's pretty cheap, 570k with a 60 break even. So, having a good look at Maddo. Asaya Papali'i playing against his old club. He might be in for a big one as well. So maybe Papali'i just looks awesome as well, Bogues. He's worth every cent. I know. After I said last week, can you pay the money for him? But
he's a keeper.
I think he's worth every cent. He's played his way into that edge. It's now his edge, and he just hits those lines. He runs hard. He gets through a heap of work. He's a go-to option for him. Just because of the way he runs, he bumps tackles, and out on that left edge, he's really dangerous because you've got Sivo out there who creates a threat. You have some eyes on him, and that's the side that Gutho sort of naturally swings out to that, causes some problems. So there's some other things happening out there that probably help him as well as an attacking option with the short balls to him and stuff like that, and even creating things outside of him. So yeah, Cyber Pali is going to probably be buy of the season, and anyone that got on him at 400k is a genius. So yeah, and if you're not going to have him for around 13, he could be a big one. I was just sort of hoping he might be a bit cheaper by then. The second game on the Sunday will be the Storm taking on the Dragons. I think the big one on everyone's lips by the time team lists come out for this one will be whether Lil Pappy is named or whether he's rested again. I don't expect he'll get named and then won't play. So the interesting thing will be is whether he's just not named at all. Bellamy's pretty good. Seems to be pretty good with that. He hasn't named in the last couple of weeks, which is nice. And if he's not good to go, that they've showed they don't really need him, to be honest, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But the Dragons, they can cause a bit of trouble on their day. They'll want to keep on keeping on that Storm juggernaut. Again, you just got so many options in that Melbourne side. You got Hughes, he's not going to play around. They plays around 13 buy, so he's pretty expensive, but he's looming as a halfback option maybe. Cameron Munster. You got the Fox coming off a 6-try performance. Olam's looking pretty good. I think a big one with this one, Bogues, is Brandon Smith's going to miss a week, which means Harry Grant will play 80 minutes, and Harry Grant looks absolutely phenomenal. If I can somehow figure out a way to get Maddo and Harry Grant in this week, I'll probably do it, because I think Grant looks amazing. Dragons side of the park, you got Max Fagai. Have a look at him as a cheapie if you need one in the centre wing. Should be playing his third game. Make sure you get Max, not Matt. But yeah, it's sort of a tough one. You got, like I said, guys like Jack Bird, who are playing some good footy that you could look at for that round 13 bye. But they've got a bit of a hard matchup this week, so it makes it a little bit hard. But it's like I said, it's sort of just talking a bit of shit without having a team this year or anything like that. And to finish off Magic Round, Bogues, at 6:25 on the Sunday evening, it will be the Titans taking on the league-leading Penrith Panthers, which could be a really entertaining game depending on which Titans team shows up. So Dave Fafita's inclusion or exclusion will be big, obviously, on Supercoaches, and there's been a bit of discussion about, if he does cop the 2-week ban, he'll probably miss a few weeks with Origin in between the next month after that. So at 850k, if he isn't successful in his DR grade, he is potentially a sell, which might sound crazy, but 850k, you can't just have that sitting on the bench, I think, at this point of the year with things that are going on.
Can I put a tinfoil hat on?
Yeah.
He'll be successful in his downgrade.
I mean, I don't really think it was too different to you look at someone like Radley's last week. The only difference is the club that he plays for. So we'll see what happens. What's your tinfoil theory? Why is it that he'll get off?
Because they want him to be playing during the Magic Round.
Fair call. We'll have to see what happens. Like, they need him. if they're any chance, which I don't know if they are. They sort of gave it to him last year, but yeah, they need him to play. But hopefully this will be an entertaining game to finish off the round. Probably going to be plenty of people that leave the C on Cleary or chuck it on the Y or chuck it on Toto because they've just got options galore around the park. I think Momirovski's due back, Bogues. I think he is now due back from his suspension. So it's going to be really interesting to see by the time team lists come out what Cleary does there, whether Burton shifts out of the side. I think he's been playing really good footy. Or Momirovski misses out, or maybe Staines misses out and Momirovski goes to the wing. But we'll be pretty keen to see what happens with the team list.
Well, Ivan Cleary has shown that he's willing to fucking drop Staines after scoring a hat-trick. So...
yeah, so that'll be interesting with that one, but yeah, should be a cracking game to finish the round. Hopefully a entertaining one and some good weather in Brisbane. I don't know what the weather is, but hopefully we get a good weekend. It's going to be
fucking shit here by the looks of things.
Yeah, so hopefully in Brisbane on the weekend. Where are we? Brisbane. Yeah, we should be pretty good by the weekend. A bit of rain over the next couple of days, but looking good for the weekend. It's pissing down here at the moment.
Yep.
Yes. And that is round 10 Magic Round, folks.
Well, I don't know if it's that magic, to be fair. There isn't really that big...
Magic if you're there.
Yeah, magic if you're there. Seems to be missing that big matchup. But, whatever. NRL's in charge of the booking. Like, you'd really think that they would have been better off having the Cowboys versus Broncos this week rather than...
Yeah, fair call.
Considering...
Even, Parramatta, the Chooks, South Melbourne.
Oh, last week would have been way better for Magic Round.
Yeah, true, fair call.
But, on to the leagues, which is fucking... Yeah, this isn't fun.
Not when you're scoring 1150.
We'll go with the weekly for the group. I'll get you to scooch over to your... What is it, your left? Yeah. Looking like Two-Face. See you, mate. Paul was the top scorer last week with a big fucking 1,600. So we don't have the 1,700 Magic Man in our group, but 1,600, that's a fucking good effort.
Yeah, that's a monster. Well done, see you, mate. Paulie, that graphic for me, Bogan, is a little bit hard to read. I don't know how it looks on your end.
It looks the usual.
Okay, that's all right. Might just be my thing, but yeah, massive score there. Marty as well. Shout out to Marty with a
1535
monster from Marty and skyrockets into that. Well and truly in that top 1,000. So shout out Marty.
We got Cameron with Shaggy's squad. He came in second for the week with a 1572. He's sitting in 437th. So it looks like we've got a fair few that are in that top 1,000. Yeah,
it's good to see even some of those guys sort of at the bottom of that chart, Jimbo and Better Than Standout as well, really well ranked. So well done, guys. Some absolute monsters on that score. I think I've been playing Supercoach for over 10 years now. I've never cracked 1,600. I think I've had a decent 1,500 once, and so to be scoring 1,600 and shit like that.
First fucking 2,000 this week. It's all good. And the overall, still got Jed with Pog Champion. He's sitting in 4th. Tantalisingly close, Jed.
That's big. We actually chucked Jed in the Facebook group chat during the week, which was good. So Jeddy's in there.
Is he feeling my spot in the Facebook chat?
Yeah, he might have to. But yeah, he's flying 1430 odd or whatever it was. Really solid score for a top end there. So well done, Jetty. Keep on, mate. Keep on keeping on. We're all behind you and hope you can keep on cementing that spot and push for that number 1 overall, because that'd be absolutely massive. We might have to get him on if he's keen and have a chat to him at some point.
And the People's Chin, he's scored a 1229, which is respectable, but that's caused him to drop all the way down to 7th in the group there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at a lot of those top scores, they're all the 1400s and high 1300s is like that. If you didn't score 1300 this week, you're in for a bad time.
So still, yeah, but People's Chin is still in it with a chance. But James with Perpetual Motion, he's got 1431. He's sitting at 64th.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like anyone in the top 100 or 500 of it, these guys are buried in the top 100, and obviously Jetty in the top 10. But yeah, these guys are having stellar years. You know, like we're keen Supercoach players. I know.
Look at that. Look at Jed's fucking average per round.
Average, yeah.
That's amazing. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, massive guys. Keep on keeping on. Great to see some of the guys doing well there.
All right. On to the all-in. It was Troy with Humdinger with 1459. He was the top scorer for the week. Followed by Zach with a 1429. Followed by Polly's Pocket Rockets. I believe they knocked me out of one of the finals last year, I think. With 1403. Yourself there with a 1382 coming in fourth. And Maddie with Sweetie Sacks. Another good name there. With 1372.
Shout out to Clemmy as well, Tech Toys, Sex Toys. We chucked him in the chat during the week as well. If anyone's keen to jump in we've got a Facebook group chat where we just talk all things Supercoach as well as a bit of shit.
Yeah.
Bit of banter, just reach out to one of us, you know, myself, Joshy, guys like Kane Anderson and Adrianosaurus Rex or Bogan on Twitter, and we can get it sorted out, guys.
Mate, you get nothing from me except memes. Memes and
really good resource there, Bogues, for anyone that's a keen player, because the boys are awesome with sharing intel, or just if you want to bounce some ideas off people about what's doing, and yeah, some good banter in there as well. So yeah, anyone wants in, just let us know. And we shout out to the Pineapples, which is nice to see. I don't see her on that list, which means she probably has dropped a couple 100 points on me this week, which is also reassuring. But she's also jumped in there as of this week as well, Bogues. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I might have to start doing weekly updates on that, considering the bets. The BJ Invitational. It's Big Marty. Big Marty with a 1535. Sitting overall 532, so he's in with a shot too.
Yeah, he's flying with that score as well. Big Marty, so he's solid. He'll keep on keeping on too.
Followed by Leanne with Fire and Ice, who I played in head-to-head, and she absolutely pummeled me. With another second week in a row with a solid score with a 1450, and she's in the top 1000 as well. Bundy with a 1448. I'm sure he'll want to continue that form. Benny 1400. He was a little bit upset on the old Twitter, but after
what was he upset about?
After the update, before updates, he I don't think he was too happy, but then he updated really well. So
well, he's having a stellar year as well, Bogues. He's what?
He's a gun. He's a gun, Benny. And that's the thing. He'll hit me up for tips. It's like, why the hell are you talking to me, mate? Like I'm 30,000 or something. Like,
he found out how to view the draft ladder during the week as well, Bogues. So he's on a learning journey through draft as well at the moment. But Benny is absolutely flying. I think he's on track for a good year. Maybe he can find his way in that top 100 and have a really good year.
And Mana came in 5th for the week with a 1389. So
yeah, big Mana ticking away there. He's one to watch as well. Sitting at 1300, is it, Bogues?
Yeah, yep. So not a lot separating those scores though. All right, now for this fucking horrible thing that we call draft. Draft results. So, Josh King got up over Brent Hampton.
I must admit, Bogues, I was going to play one short. He had only 12 players scoring, and I was only going to have 11. But then going to the last game, it was really tight, so I made a late trade to try and snatch it. But his last player was Paul Vaughan, who ended up scoring a try, and I think I brought in Max Fagai, which was the wrong Fagai because Matt was the one. But anyway, it didn't help me in the end, so yeah, I copped the L this week, which sucks.
Kane Anderson got a win over Trent.
Oh, he got the revisions. He was down initially and then down after some revisions, but he's got home in the end. He's missed a couple close ones over the last few weeks, so he'll be happy about that, old Kandos.
Yeah. Got whooped by Benny. That's
Benny
to be
sausage.
expected. Wayno, he got absolutely pummeled by Mana. And, yeah,
Ooh,
Call Me
tight one.
Big Puppy got up over... He's the front runner, isn't he? Living Tavita Loco at the moment.
Yeah, I think that was a battle of the clash at the top, actually, that one.
We'll see. Because up next, we've got the ladder. Yeah, so with that, Call Me Big Puppy takes the overall lead there on 14 points. But I tell you what, not a lot separating first from 6 there.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. Obviously, we don't play through the buys, but every win's really vital. But in particular, Kandos as well over the scrambled legs. Bogan, you have found yourself with a bit of a barrier at the bottom there. Must admit, there might be a documentary series on the fall from grace for a couple of you boys if you don't turn around pretty quickly.
Documentary about how we were fucking...
Too much partying after last year.
Rigged against us.
Fuck me, Tedesco ain't doing too well. Don't worry about that. I wish I had the Teddy of 2020 as opposed to 2021.
Yeah, I don't think we need to look at that anymore. And that's it.
Alrighto, well,
maybe
what trades are you looking at, Bones?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait for team lists. Yeah, hold on. Just let me bring it up. Just let me bring it up. I can edit this out. Go to classic. Oh, fuck. I fucking hate this new pop-up that pops up where the Colonel mocks you if you shit.
Yeah. Well, I got 9 out of 10 this week. It wasn't too bad. He threw some drumsticks at me. You're right about Fafita. 850 grand. If he gets suspended, I'm gonna have to get rid of him. I mean, when you got guys like Pappy's back, and it's just too much money. I think at this point you got to use it better. I mean, you could trade him to Matto and make 300k, and upgrade a friggin' mid-ranger to another gun. It would be big.
Yeah.
So you're probably hoping that he might actually get ruled out because it'd be nice trades.
Yeah. Seeing if Pappy plays, I might. A lot of it is dependent because, like, if Pappy plays, I'll probably trade Nico Hines and make a. How much would I make off that? Make a 100 grand.
That was pretty solid and scored the points as well.
Because he was losing money before Puffy got injured, and when I saw he was named at fullback, I thought, no, he's going to pop up. But I think he will start dropping again if Puffy is in the team. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. His stocks will drop. And the only other thing,
and you got Walker too, sitting at 600 grand nearly. If he's injured, right?
Samuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It is a really big week, and obviously with the boys playing Origin and stuff like that, you got to start to think about not just whether they play that bye, but whether they're going to be in Origin contention. And for New South Wales, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, so a lot will depend on team list. Yourself?
No, I really want to get Harry Grant in, but I also really want to get Maddo in. I also would. I think I'll have to miss Pappy, even though I could probably go Gutho straight to Pappy. But I think just because I think Gutho might miss out on the sky blue jersey, and they got a good.
What's the chance of Mahoney missing out if it's a HIA protocol?
I think there's a chance he doesn't play this week for sure.
See, I might have to get rid of him too.
I think he's had a couple as well.
So I'm fucked.
I mean, it could be a savage week again, depending on what happens with Fafita, Sam Walker. Lodge, I think, has also got a bit of a charge there. Actually, I forgot about. So yeah, it'll be Could be pain.
Yep. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see who's playing.
For sure. By the time you're watching this, team list will be out. So all the best with your trades this week. Or if you're not trading, you got to save some trades because at some point that's also got to happen, Bogan. It's just as important.
Yeah, but I think I'm just in that stage, mate, where I'm just going to have to try and trade myself out of the shit. Hope I can jag a 1700.
I said to some of the boys in the chat today, it's at least once you run out of trades, you don't have to worry about making any decisions after that with trades. So, but yes, all the best for Magic Round, Bogues, and all you guys out there. Thanks for tuning in. All the best with your trades and your captaincy options. May the trade gods be kind as always.
Yeah, like, rate, subscribe, all that bullshit, all that YouTube bullshit. You'll be in the chat tomorrow night, won't you, Brent, as this premieres?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you can talk all the shit, how our shit crystal ball doesn't even last 24 hours. Yeah. You want to sign off, Breno? I put you on the spot there.
Thanks for joining us, guys. BJ on Game Day. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you next week.